Hello, everyone, and welcome back to a special episode of
The Lo and Zoe Show.
So we are so excited today to be coming to you guys with a bit of a surprise episode. We know that we're between seasons right now, and we actually had plans to come back at the end of April, early May, but obviously we're not able to get into the studio as planned for reasons that we don't even need to talk about because you guys already know. But we wanted to come at you guys with a special episode today. Spread some love, right, Zoe?
Yeah, spread some love, spread some happiness, positivity, and inspiration for our futures.
Yeah, and specifically, we want to talk about moving through fear and anxiety at this time and how to actually transform those emotions into faith and abundance and love and just really come out on the other side of this much better than you went into it, right?
Yes, of course. So let's get started.
I'm Lo.
And I'm Zoe, and this is
The Lo and Zoe Show. We're coaches and entrepreneurs who firmly believe that an abundant mind is the key to an abundant life.
On this podcast, we're going to be talking everything from how to manifest more money, travel, success in business, and beyond,
to overcoming the blocks that are holding you back,
to rewiring your brain so you can easily attract whatever it is you want the most in life.
If you haven't already, be sure to join us inside our Facebook community, the Queen Mind Tribe, for daily tips, mindset hacks, manifesting tricks, and more that'll allow you to build the confidence you need
to manifest the abundant AF life you deserve.
Now let's get started. All right. I'm so excited to be, this is a quarantine version of the Lo and Zoe Show. We are doing this on the Anchor app. We are not together.
Yeah, I'm in my closet, back in the closet where we began this journey.
Full circle moment. I like it. I actually really like that we can still just decide to throw up an episode of the Lo and Zoe Show, and we really do miss it. And we're so excited for season 2. Whenever the universe decides it's time for that to happen.
Yeah, we've already filmed a couple episodes, and they are pretty gosh darn good, you guys.
Yeah, we might, depending on how long this all goes on for, we might decide to record some episodes ourselves and release season 2, because we know that, what we all need right now is just love and positivity. And I'm a bit biased, but I feel we have a lot of that to share.
Yeah, and we want to share it too.
Yeah,
that's why we wanted to hop on today.
Yeah, so Zoe and I, it's been really interesting just watching this whole pandemic thing unfold in the world. This is really an unprecedented time. As you guys know, it's not something that anybody I know has ever, none of us have ever dealt with it in past generations. It's been centuries since something like this. Well, nothing quite like this has ever happened because we have the internet. And it's just, what's your experience been so far, Zoe, of quarantine and just the unfolding of the current state of the world?
Yeah, well, I was in Mexico for the month of March with my family on a holiday. And so it actually didn't affect us there, as in things closing around us, until the last 2 or 3 days of my holiday there. But I've been in quarantine now for a week. But what I can say is that I've learned a lot about myself, and I've really just been focusing on my mental health first, giving myself whatever I need each day to just feel good. Feel good, stay happy, stay positive, have fun, laugh at myself a little bit. What about you?
Yeah, well, I think I honestly have had only moments of feeling like less than my usual happy, positive self, to be honest. There has been like some just sort of shifts in terms of, like I was telling Zoe before the call, that I realized the other day, like I'd had a couple of kind of anxious days, which I'm not used to. And I was just trying to pinpoint it. And I realized that for me, the main thing that shifted was that I went from like always working towards my goals and having a lot of drive in terms of being just in possibility of what I'm creating. That's really like who I am. I'm always just dreaming about what's to come next and taking action towards it. And I'd kind of lost that a little bit. I was still working on my business, but I was not doing my visualization practice. I was not like in the possibility of like my big dreams. I was kind of just in the possibility of like getting by during this time, like survival,
Yeah.
Which just is, it's interesting because there's no reason we're going to talk today about like, you can still manifest anything that you desire, even during a pandemic. But beyond that, I would say that my experience has been one of not like, I haven't been, and I know Zoe, you're the same. I haven't been in a lot of anxiety about this. I haven't been in a lot of worry about, what's going on in the world. And that's not to say that there aren't people that are struggling and there aren't things happening outside of your control that are making things very difficult right now. But I think it's like, it's been such a good reminder that now more than ever, we're all being called into faith, and we're all being called into trust and flow and love and to really like let go of these old ways of thinking, which incur a lot of anxiety and worry for most of the population.
Yeah, and that's one thing I want to highlight there is that, like what you mentioned, everything that you're choosing to focus on expands.
Yeah.
And so if you're choosing to focus on the overwhelm, the anxiety, the fear of the future, the fear of what could happen, you're robbing yourself of the present moment, and you're robbing yourself of possibilities for the future, positive ones, and
Yeah.
loving thoughts and caring thoughts, and being able to show up fully as yourself and share whatever love you're being called to share. Because if you're in that place of fear, one cannot exist without the other. But once you start to choose loving thoughts, loving behaviors, loving actions, that's when you move into that space of possibility for the future.
Yeah, absolutely. And I guess we kind of wanted to share today. I mean, so as soon as this all kind of became very real, Zoe reached out to me and said, I want to talk to our audience about this. We actually have something that we're going to share with you guys that we've been working on at the end of the episode, just because we, like, both of us really are people who don't spend a lot of time in fear or anxiety, I would say, especially now. I feel like I've been really in a place of like surrender and flow with things. It's actually been really good for me in certain ways. And we recognize that a lot of people, like for me a few years ago, this would have really, like, I just would have been in anxiety every single day, especially around money. I would have really, really had a fear around not being able to pay rent and things like that, and felt very much out of control. And so we recognize that right now is like a time when a lot of people are really struggling. A lot of people are
Yeah.
really missing that, enjoyment of day to day, because there is so much fear going around in the world, and for good reason. Of course, we're definitely not, bypassing the fact that there are things to be worried about right now. We're just saying that like there's always going to be things to be worried about, and there's definitely tools that you can implement to just be bigger than your environment, right? And
Exactly.
yeah, and to come from abundance no matter what. So, what would you say, Zoe, is like kind of one of your like top things that you're relying on right now, or just tools you have for being still in possibility, still in abundance, still in like faith, and just flow and enjoying every single day?
Yeah, well, I feel like I haven't really been taken off my feet by this at all. And
Hmm.
I think that it has to do with something Dr. Joe, he had mentioned it in, I think, an IGTV video or a post. And he said, if you've been dedicated to working on your mindset, to raising your consciousness, to meditating and having a regular practice for your mental health, for your mental stability, you've been training for this, for something like this, essentially.
Oh,
So
that's so good.
I just have been acknowledging myself every single day and just becoming a better friend to myself. Like, if that's the simplest way to put it, is that I'm supporting myself. If I get up and I feel like I want to meditate for an hour, so I meditate every day, and I have been, especially since all of this started going on, just to set my mind first thing in the day. But if I get up and I'm like, listen, today I just want to do a little bit of stretching, I don't want to do a hit workout or something like that, I give myself leeway right now, because it's a whole new place that I'm navigating. And for me, my mental health comes first, and I'm just honoring myself. I'm not trying to make myself do anything I think will give me the best productivity results, XYZ, from this self-isolation period, but more so just tuning into my mind, tuning into my soul, and asking myself, what do I need to maintain that peace of mind through this? And I've been having fun on TikTok and things like that. I'm just channeling the vibes that are showing up.
I love what you said about Dr. Joe. Like, you've been preparing yourself for this. And someone in one of my Facebook groups just a few days ago said it's the daily mindset work that she's been doing in the last few months specifically that has made it so that she's been able to navigate this without a lot of fear or anxiety. And I think that like that's really where all of our power is. I mean, Zoe and I talk all the time about daily mindset work. That's what our courses have always been built off of. That's what we talk about on this podcast all the time. That's what has completely changed both of our lives. But I just feel like for me specifically, and other people I know as well, it's in the daily mindset work that we gain complete control over our emotional experience of life. Because as much as we can manifest and create our realities, that doesn't mean that you have control over, whether the world comes down with a pandemic.
Yeah.
But what it does mean is that you are able to choose the emotions, choose the perspective, and thus be completely in control of how you experience your life day to day on an emotional level. And that's where like all of our capacity to be happy lies.
Yeah, and that's when we're completely liberated from fear, from the ego.
Yes, yes.
And the interesting thing is, Laura, as you mentioned, like there was a couple moments during this time where you felt a little bit worried or a little bit anxious. And it's so interesting because it's a slippery slope when you
Yes.
begin to choose the fearful thoughts. And it's not often that we recognize it when it's happening. It's after the fact that we've been spiraling out for maybe half an hour, maybe an hour or two, or maybe a couple of days.
Oh my
So
God, yeah.
by
Well,
training yourself, like that's
yeah.
when you can gain the awareness to press pause and readjust and align yourself back with who you truly are, which is love.
And like this isn't just to do with like fear and anxiety over a global pandemic. This is to do with literally everything that you could want to create for yourself. When you start to on the regular practice your ability to choose a different perspective and choose a different way of viewing things and choose different thoughts, that's when you're able to choose whatever reality you wish to manifest, whatever reality you wish to create for yourself, right? Because there's always going to be unfavorable circumstances and there's always going to be favorable ones as well. And it's just about which one you're tuning yourself into. And so I feel like for you and I, Zoe, and other people I know who are very just active in their own daily mindset work, they have a lot of control right now over not spiraling into, and like yeah, I had moments of it, I think we've all had moments of being unsure about
Mhm.
things and being there's a lot of anxiety in the world, but it doesn't last very long for me because I'm so used to coming back to empowering thoughts of like choosing to see this whole situation through love and choosing to be empowered at this time and finding things that I enjoy every single day. And yeah, I just like can't say enough about a daily mindset practice that empowers us to just see the world however we wish to see it.
Exactly. And seeing yourself as the creator. And you guys, we have episodes up here like You Are Powerful AF, I think it's called, Lo. Am I right?
Yeah, two, I
Like
think.
if
Yeah.
you're ever feeling disempowered over this, if you're ever feeling defeated, go back to a piece of content, something like that, that really makes you feel like you are powerful,
Yeah.
that you do have a choice here. You have a choice to choose love over fear. You have a choice to choose more positive outlooks versus negative ones. And you have a choice to get up and make the most of your day.
Yeah. What's interesting is like I have, a lot of people in my life, as we all do, who very much are like there's a lot of things that they worry about on a regular basis. And it's like that's their practiced way of being. And it's not that there's anything wrong with that. It's that I've always been someone who chose not to try and worry too much about things, especially when they're out of my control. And now, like with the pandemic going on, I feel like that practice of choosing to let go of the worry has really, really served me and you as well. And just being like still feeling happy during this time.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's powerful awareness too, because as you raise your consciousness, you start to become more and more aware of what other people are choosing. And you can then zoom out and say, no, I'm not going to put my energy in that space, just as you identified you're not doing. You can
Yeah.
still be there to support the people in your life completely, but not allow yourself to expend energy in that direction.
Oh, and I feel like the happiest kind of life is one where you don't worry too much about things. Like as soon as we all know what it feels like to let go of something that we've been worrying of and that release and resistance and how good it feels. And it's like when I am leaning into trust, when I'm leaning into just believing things work out, that's like I'm never happier than when I'm just literally putting my worries over to the universe or choosing not to focus on them, because there just isn't, like, I think worry and anxiety is the thief of all joy. Thief of,
Exactly.
yeah.
Yeah, and the thing is that the universe has a plan much greater than ours. And the more that we're
Yeah.
in resistant energy, such as fear, such as anxiety, we're actually repelling the things that are meant for us during this time. Because there's positive, powerful insights, awarenesses, things, people, moments that are awaiting us. And the more that we're choosing fear and resistance, we're repelling those things from us naturally. The universe knows best. And
Yeah.
when you can say, you know what, I don't know what to do right now. I don't know what's going to happen. I'm in uncertainty. If you can just make the conscious choice to just release that and have trust in the universe, have faith that everything is working in your favor, you're liberated.
Yeah, and that was actually going to be the next thing that I was going to say in terms of my number one, like sort of tool that I've been implementing or reason that I'm able to be happy right now. It's because I'm more than ever like leaning on that trust, leaning into that faith and
Yes.
into my relationship with the universe, if you will, and just trusting that like it has a bigger plan that we can't see right now. And this is happening for a lot of good reasons, as much as there are unfavorable things happening as well. It's like we actually did an episode about sometimes when bad things manifest and how it's actually in the like it's something bigger unfolding. I really believe that that's what's going on right now. And on a more personal level, having faith that I'm taken care of. The universe has my back. Not because, especially as business owners, like Zoe and I, it's so easy right now to look at, for all the reasons why we're not going to be able to pay rent, right? Or to look for all the reasons why our businesses are going to not do well during this time because people aren't spending money or whatever. And so that's where, like, for me, it's been I could have so easily spiraled into fear around money during this time. But the more that I lean into faith and lean into my sort of relying on the universe and trusting the universe, the more I'm just like, I'm still going to make money. Like there's opportunities for me to make money here that, maybe weren't even like now I'm looking at, okay, what is it that people are needing from me as a business coach? Well, people are wanting to start online businesses. I'm going to launch a program around that specifically. Right. So yeah, like leaning into that faith, leaning into that trust, as Zoe said, I think that's like kind of my number one tip for people, and using this time to develop that like feeling of surrender and feeling of trust, that relationship.
And one thing I just want to shine a light on too is just what you said is leaning into that trust. You lean into that trust and you get ideas for programs, ideas for how to help people. And it's so interesting how it shows up, because it showed up for me in the sense that I like reached out to you and was like, Laura, let's do something like a 30-day something, which we're going to tell you guys about shortly. But like, I'm like, let's do something about this. Like, I feel called to reach out to you specifically and, join Lo and Zoe back together during this time. Mm-hmm. And then it's shown up for me, this past week, like doing something random, like TikTok. I'm like, I just want to make people laugh and smile, because if you can laugh at yourself, if you can still have like a little bit of fun in every single day, every day is fun. If you can choose to focus on like funny things, fun things, just making light of it. If you choose to focus your energy on those little things and be grateful for that expands.
It's everything. Mm-hmm. Yes, exactly. And actually I wanted to talk a little bit about manifesting during this time, because we obviously talk a lot about manifestation. We're Lo and Zoe after all. And I've loved talking to you, Zoe, because just listening to the way that you talk about money right now is like, it's clear that it's still like the story you're telling about money right now is like, when we've had discussions about it, it's like, the universe is supporting me just by having fun, and I'm just going to produce content and trust that the money comes. And like, you have not stopped manifesting money during this time.
No, in fact, I have actually probably manifested more magical money since this started happening. Magical money in the sense that from outlets that I was not expecting. And and one thing I want to say, I worked with my coach when I was after my first day of quarantine back here in Toronto. And I said, I really want to set a powerful intention for what this quarantine self-isolation mode means to me. And I want to come out of this more abundant than ever before. And so she's like, define that to me. I'm like, well, I want to be happier, stronger, more financially abundant and stable. Like just abundance in all aspects. I just want to come out of this vibrant AF.
And so the thing is like there's zero reason why you can't decide and thus manifest that reality. Like choose that and then create it for yourself. It's that people, the story, or like the thing that they decide, the perspective that they take at this time is like, people aren't spending money. There's not much money to go around. The economy, blah, 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 blah. Things are out of my control. I just need to make rent. How am I going to pay my bills? And so the perspective that they're viewing things through is that right now is a time of scarcity and limitation. And we invite you guys to see it as the opposite. And I actually realized, like I was sharing with Zoe, that I never got into worry about money, but what I did do was default back into my sort of like energetic minimums around money, which was like, the first couple of months of the year, I was hitting 20K months, and that was an intention that I set, and I was tuning into it, and I was visualizing, I was creating it every day. And I just felt so on top of the world. I felt like so powerful. And then this all hit, and I had a lot of trust. I never went into worry. And like I'm paying more rent starting April 1st than I'd literally ever have in my life, like 3 times what I paid at my last place. But I like just realized that I was defaulting back into like I have what I need, or I'm gonna have what I need. And until I realized that, like that's what was coming true for me. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I'm just saying like my process of choosing what I'm manifesting is not any different than it used to be. I'm just realizing like I was like allowing those conditions to impact me a little bit, whereas you never did. And so as soon as I realized that, I was like, oh, well, I just have to set the intention for, financial thriving 20K months again. There's literally the only reason that would hold me back from like continuing that on is that I started like allowing, things going on in the world to impact my alignment with what I wanted.
Yeah, and I have to acknowledge you, Laura, because we were on this female business owner mastermind group that we have, and
Yeah.
Laura, you just started to shine a light on like what's going on here, what's going on here. Then like later that night, you voice note me and you said, Zoe, I had a bubble bath, and now I'm just the universe. I love it, like all the things. I'm so abundant, and you were just back in that space, and I have to acknowledge you because all it took was like one action, you doing something for yourself, an act of self-love, an act of getting centered and focused again, and you're back in alignment. Like it doesn't have to be difficult, you guys. It can just be a simple action for you just tuning in, like, what do I need right now to feel abundant?
Yeah. Yeah. And still continuing to set the same goals that you had. I mean, like when it comes, and you said something, Zoe, which was that money was coming to you through unexpected places. We're not saying like there are a lot of people who have had to close up shop and stop making money the way that they are used to making money. And that is, very real. And like I coach a lot of people in the beauty industry. None of them are making money right now, but that doesn't mean that they can't manifest magical money in many other ways, whether it's through a business endeavor or not. It's just about if you're saying, oh, I had to close my business, therefore I don't have money, then no magical money can show up in your life. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like you have to let go again of the how and just stay committed to the end result and let go of how you thought you were going to create it for yourself before all of this happened.
Yes. And what is that quote by Neville Goddard? You always say it's like envisioning the end wills the means.
Yes. Acceptance of the end wills the means to that end, which just means like if you have a goal for thriving financially, tune into that and then allow for the means there to be shown to you. And who knows what that could look like. I mean, this time could completely, let's say you are a business owner, this could completely transform your business. Let's say like maybe it's just a career move or something. Maybe an opportunity is going to come to you through this time that completely changes the course of your life in a really great way because you were still tuning into the end and then being like, well, this is how much money I need right now, for instance. This is what I need. I have zero idea how it's going to come. And all the ways in which it used to come to me have closed temporarily. So the universe obviously is going to get creative and bring it to me in some magical way. And like that way that it brings it to you could completely change your life.
Yeah.
Right?
And you guys, follow the winks from the universe, follow those breadcrumbs, follow what feels good, your curiosities during this time, because that's going to shed a light on the new path for you. Like, for example, like if you are someone who may be in the beauty industry, maybe feeling a little bit uncertain on where your career might be going, be open to the possibilities now.
Yeah.
Because the universe is trying to show you something, a path of least resistance to get you more of what you want.
Yes.
What you've been calling in.
And that was kind of like the next thing I wanted to talk about before we share something with you guys that we've been working on. We're really excited about it. It's just kind of a fun project that we feel the world needs right now. But before that, what I wanted to bring up next was just that, like, we've all been co-manifesting what's going on right now for different reasons. And like, I know for me during this time, and even just last night, like I read something that said this, we could be in quarantine for up to 3 months. I'm not creating that by any means. I think that it definitely could end sooner than that, but it made me realize like, this is a significant period of time. What do I want to create right now? And just realizing like, there are things that I said I didn't have time for before that all of a sudden I do. So why did I call this into my existence? Because I believe, like we've shared before, we're all co-creators. We did co-create this, whether people want to believe that or not. So what is it that, the universe is responding to in you in terms of what you've been asking for? Because I really believe this is here to serve all of us. Whether or not we choose to see it that way or not is, dependent on the individual. But setting intentions and then seeing this as like being a time of awakening and a
Mhm.
time of clarity and a time of abundance for everybody. It's up to you whether or not you tune into that and then allow for it to manifest in your life. But I just really see right now, like, how do you view what's happening right now, Zoe, in terms of just on a spiritual level, not based on, all the facts that are out there and the illness and people getting sick and like all the negativity that the news constantly talks about. How do you see this from a place of spirituality and flow with the universe?
I see this, and honestly, it gives me goosebumps just as you're asking
Yeah.
this. It's a mass awakening. It's
Yes.
awakening for
Yeah.
those people. If you're listening to this podcast, you're there. You're awakened. You're awakening.
Yeah.
You're
You've actually been called to awaken others, especially during
yes.
this time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that's why I feel like, for example, individuals like you and I, or I'm just going to call us light workers in the sense that we're
Yeah.
kind of surfing this wave. Like we're on top of it. We're not
Yeah.
letting it drown us because we're showing other people what's possible. We're showing other people like, okay, come to the light, come to the love,
Oh, I love that.
follow it, follow it,
Yes.
and just, tune in to what this could do for you. And, when we are facing things like anxiety, like we've spoken about before in other podcasts, we're resisting the up level.
Yeah.
So just accept, like become aware. Yes. Then step two, accept what's going on. And three, like just offer up to move into a space of faith, trust.
Well, what's interesting? I love everything that you're saying. But what's interesting? We did an episode on anxiety and we talked about the fact that we experience the most anxiety when we're about to up level. So if you're someone who's in anxiety and fear right now, which it's not hard to be, and we're not we're not downplaying that at all. It is very real. But it's because you are in the process of a mass up leveling, a mass awakening, like what Zoe said. And so I really feel that like we're being shown. I mean, you and I, Zoe, we constantly are doing work on our shadow selves or whatever you want to call it,
Mhm.
on our egos. And I feel like that's why right now I don't have a lot of ego to deal with. Like
Yeah.
I'm happy.
Mhm.
I mean there's things that I miss and I don't necessarily, but like I don't know. I'm just like so at peace with things, but I have been going to work on my anxiety and that shadow, that ego fear. Ego equals fear always. Or fear equals ego rather. And so whatever anxiety that is being brought to the surface for you right now, it's so that you can see what there is for you to go to work on and have the incredible opportunity of letting it go and replacing it and moving more into your truth, into the light, becoming that light worker that you are here to be,
Yeah, exactly. And one thing that really resonates to me is what Aaron Doughty's been talking about. He's also a YouTuber and a podcaster, but he says no one ever goes through a spiritual awakening in their comfort zones. So
Right.
for so many people to be had the rug pulled out underneath them, to be shaken up, to be full of uncertainty. Okay, so this is why we're all going through a massive shift and a massive awakening together. So
Yeah.
like just as like Laura said to you guys, like shine the light on the discomfort, on the anxiety, and ask it what it's trying to show you.
And then go to work on replacing it, right? On letting it go and reprogramming that egoic mind for love, for faith, for freedom. And that I think
Yes.
brings us to what we've been wanting to share with you guys. Do you want to tell them, Zoe? Because you reached out to me like a couple of weeks ago and was like, Lauren, we have to do that. I just had this idea for this course. Let's develop it. I really feel this is what the world needs from us right now. And that's really where we've come from with it.
Yeah. So I had this idea. I just really am being called to share the message of choosing love over fear. And it's something that Laura and I have spoke about on this podcast. There's more episodes to come on that as a
Yeah.
topic in general. But we really just wanted to share what it takes for you guys to become aware of how fear presents itself to you personally, individually. It's different for all of us.
Transform it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and have the ability to transform it on your own
Yeah.
and be able to share light and love then with others, because when you're in that space you can give, you can continue to give, you can show people what's possible, and that's what this world needs more of right now. They need more possibility, more love, and more opportunity. Like
I think for me, it's like, yes, yeah, absolutely. And for me, it's like if I can help people to liberate themselves from the fear that costs us so much in terms of our daily enjoyment of life. Like that to me, I love talking about manifestation and, you know, making lots of money and whatever, but there's nothing that makes me happier than seeing people liberate themselves from
Yeah.
even just pieces of fear, because fear is just, like I said, the thief of joy.
Yeah.
And the less fear I have in my life, the happier and happier I get, the more like grateful I feel every single day, the more I'm just like in flow and allowing. And yeah, so we have developed a 30-day course. We just finished our first 30-day course. Well, that's actually not true. It was our second, but it was our first course together, which was the Quantum Creators course, which is what we were talking about at the end of last season. And we just like fell in love with the community in
Yes.
that course. And just people were so in possibility, and like it was just I can't wait to launch that course again. We're not going to do it, I think, until August. But we really wanted to create that again, and we wanted it to specifically help people to liberate themselves. And this is like if you learn how to program your brain for love over fear, that's like a permanent change that you make in your subconscious.
Yes.
Like I think like the more we awaken, the more we just let go of those habitual ways of thinking and that programming, and are able to just live in an entirely new reality in terms of our emotions from that point forward.
Yeah, there's no regressing happening. Once you become aware of these skills, once you rewire your brain and understand what it truly means to liberate yourself from fear, choose love, and
Yeah.
know what it fully means to you to be in that state, there's no going back. And you just continue to up level, and you just have a better, more comfortable, more good feeling, natural, energetic level in your life.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So our course is called Fear to Freedom.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I just feel like in terms of freedom, like the ultimate freedom is, like we said, freedom from like freedom over your emotions, or control over your emotions. The ultimate freedom is peace of mind.
Yes.
Right. And right now, like I feel very free compared to, I think, a lot of people in the world. And like that's been work that you and I have done intentionally over the last, you know, God, however many years, but there's specific things that we've really done and focused on in order to worry less and to be in belief and possibility and faith and joy more.
Mm-hmm.
And right now, yeah, I'm just like, I'm so grateful for the work that like I've done and we've done, because it's enabling me not to feel like this is like everyone talking about like how much 2020 sucks. I'm like, I'm not having that experience.
No.
I'm so grateful that it's 2020.
Me too. And I'm just so grateful because just as we spoke about this awakening, this is the time when so many people are going to learn this same
it's exciting.
Are being called to learn this lesson to choose love. And do you know what's going to happen to our world once the majority of people
oh my God.
love?
Yeah.
It's going to be amazing.
Talk about shivers.
I know.
Seriously, that like we are in like when we say mass awakening, we mean people like humankind being moved from fear into love.
Yes.
And can you imagine a world where our dominant vibration is one of love and abundance? Like it'll just be an entirely different world where Mother Nature thrives and there aren't wars and people are healthy and we respect other people. We don't treat other people horribly because we're treating ourselves with love. Like it'll just literally be an entirely different world. And that is where humanity is headed. And I think that this has been like a huge kick in the ass, to be honest, for humankind. And this course, you know, our last course was $300. This one's $97 because we just like, this was just an inspired action. We wanted to bring a community of people together. We wanted to help people facilitate this transition or this transformation in themselves right now, letting go of that fear that's being presented to them, moving into love and having like a lot of things to be grateful for around this time when they look back.
Yeah.
Right. Like I want to look back at this pandemic and be like, wow, that was like an amazing time.
Yeah. But with
that sounds weird.
Gratitude, you find the empowerment. And that's what we want. Like we want you guys, if you're entering into this course, at any way of being, like our goal and our intention through this is to have you coming out fully empowered in this present situation, in this present circumstances, but knowing that you have the tools then to move through your life with empowerment, no matter what turbulence might try to knock you off your game.
Yes. Oh, I love that. Empowerment. We actually, when we were designing the course, I wrote that empower, like getting people back into their power. And then like I circled it and was like, that's what this is about.
Yes.
So it's going to be 3 modules. Essentially, we're giving you guys the bulk of the information. We're going to talk about manifesting. We're going to talk about the science of spirituality, especially during a time of uncertainty, and how it's safe to trust the universe,
Mm-hmm.
like from a scientific perspective. Like we don't, I know I've always talked about how my faith comes from my understanding of how the universe works and what spirituality is all about, and why when we let go of that fear, we flourish no matter what the outside circumstances are. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to give you guys daily, simple, fun daily practices that are just going to completely raise your energy right now, put you into a place like back into your power, back into just having, fun, and also raising up the vibration of those around you, just as a byproduct.
Yes. Oh,
Yeah.
and that's just what this world needs more of.
I
Again,
know.
yeah.
And and we're also going to be doing our usual weekly live streams. It's a similar structure to like QC squared, for instance. But it's just, I mean, yeah, if with this, we just really wanted to put this out there into the world. It wasn't our usual, like QC squared was very much like, we were so excited to offer that course, but we wanted to, make money to keep Lo and Zoe afloat, because it does cost money, everything that we do together. Whereas this just really feels, I don't know. I'm just really coming from a place of, just being excited.
Love. Yeah.
Unconditional love with this. Like I'm personally unattached, whether there's 2 people in this or 200. Like, I just want to do this course and talk about this with people. Like since the time that we started this podcast, I'm so fired up, of you talking about like, helping people to awaken, helping people to get back into their power and transform into the version that they were always meant to be coming into this life experience.
Yeah. And the way, like Laura said, we have designed this course is that so you're coming to this course and it's going to be 4 weeks of, you get the knowledge up front, and then we're just going to focus on happiness, our own gratitude, our own possibilities, and just the good news in the world.
And also like moving through the emotions that you are experiencing, having a safe space to do that, and a productive space to do that. Right. Rather than, it's a slippery slope when we're talking about what we're afraid of right now with other people, and how quickly that can spiral into a pit of anxiety. So providing people with the space where that doesn't happen, it's safe for them to talk about what they are fearful of right now, because there are a lot of things to be fearful of. And we definitely, like I said, we don't want to sidestep that at all. We just want to help you work through it in a way that really liberates you.
Yes. And that gives you the tools to, like we said, move through any uncertainty that presents itself in the future.
Yes. Yeah. Well, I mean, like, this is such an opportunity. If you can learn to manifest, and we are going to talk about manifestation. We're going to have you guys be working on little things that you want to manifest here and there, and just having fun with it, and like kind of really developing your relationship with the universe at this time, whatever that means for you guys. But oh my God, I can't remember what I was saying about that, but that's always what happens. I get excited and then I forget what my train of thought was. But yeah, I just get too excited. Too many exciting things to share with you guys. But yeah, we just want to, I remember what I was saying is that if right now you can learn to create desired outcomes for yourself, like, you're just going to be freaking unstoppable by the time this pandemic ends. Right? Like, if you can manifest what you want during a pandemic, there is nothing that you can't, overcome in order to align with, like, that unconditional alignment. Like, when it comes to manifestation anyways, and just our daily happiness, that's like where we really should be going to work on.
Like,
no matter what the no matter what the circumstances, I'm going to choose to look for the good and tune into what I want, and thus manifest it. Because that's really, like, manifestation is, there are no circumstances that impact manifestations, only the ones, or impact your ability to manifest, only the ones that you put your attention and focus on.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. Yeah. So we put the link for Fear to Freedom inside the show notes or in the show notes. And the doors are closing Friday because we're going to get started next Monday. So similar to our launch of QC Squared, it's going to be open for 5 days. And yeah, it's $97. We're going to be taking place inside a Facebook group. We're going to be really just active in there over the next 30 days. This is just so the energy I want in my life right now and to share in my life. And it's closing Friday at 10 p.m. Is that, have we decided that?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm like, actually, we never actually talked about that. But so doors are closing Friday. We'll get started together on Monday. And we just are really excited part of it's selfish. We just want our high vibe community of people working through a course together because that was so fun.
Because, when we all come together as a collective, when we choose to focus on the good, focus on our personal growth, development, mindset shifts in a positive way, we're all going to up level together. It's going to be great.
Yep. Yeah. Love it.
Love it.
All right. Okay. Well, we hope to see you guys if it's calling to you inside Fear to Freedom. And we just wish you all the health and happiness and abundance, especially right now, and just encourage you to lean into what that inner being, your intuition is telling you, which is that you're taken care of. It's all going to be okay. Everything's working out.
Yes.
It's happening, for you, as much as it might be hard to wrap your head around that right now. You will look back and understand that. So any last words of wisdom, Zoe?
Just we love you, and so does the universe. And don't forget it. Don't even doubt it.
And until next time.
Yeah. Stay abundant.
We didn't practice that. I was like, Zoe, this is your line. All right. Thank you guys so much. And we'll see you in season 2.
See you.
I'm already excited.
Can't wait.
Okay. Bye. Thank you guys so much for spending a piece of your day with us and tuning into the Lo and Zoe Show.
If you enjoyed this episode, please take the time to rate it and share on social media. Be sure to tag us.
Until next time,
stay abundant.